Welcome to the debate. So today we're looking at the pretty remarkable story of Emma Costa. She managed to pull together an international trip to Lisbon for a wedding in just 3 days, facing some serious hurdles, last-minute work, flights basically gone, no hotels. Quite the challenge.
It really was. I mean, an impressive bit of quick work. Definitely something most people would probably just give up on.
Right. And that brings us to our core question here. Was Emma's success, getting this trip off the ground, was it mostly down to her inherent qualities, things like determination, maybe originality, or was it more about the specific tactical moves she made and, maybe some helpful external factors lining up just right? My position is that her character traits were really fundamental here.
And I'll be arguing that actually the tactical execution and, frankly, a reliance on external factors were the truly decisive elements. If those specific circumstances hadn't fallen into place, well, I don't think any amount of positive thinking alone would have secured that plane ticket.
See, I think Emma's success flows directly from her core character. The source material mentions she's curious and resourceful, sure. But the key phrase for me is when it says, faced with those limited flights and packed hotels, her determined spirit just kicked in. That's crucial. Without that underlying drive, that refusal to accept it was impossible, she wouldn't have even started looking for solutions. Determination is what powers you through setbacks. And look at the gift situation, no time to shop, right? So her always original approach led straight to creating that digital video montage. That's pure ingenuity, a trait-driven solution.
Okay, I come at this from a slightly different angle. While I absolutely agree that determined spirit is, a necessary starting point, I think the success itself hangs too much on, fortunate tactical choices and outside help to say her personality was the main driver. The text specifically credits quick thinking and the kindness of others. Let's look at the practical steps that actually made the trip happen. Finding that one specific flight via Madrid, right? And then getting a place to stay by calling up a college friend. These are actions, yes, driven by resourcefulness perhaps, but their success wasn't guaranteed. It depended entirely on that flight existing and her friend being available and willing.
Searching for that needle in a haystack flight, long after someone, less determined might have just thrown in the towel. Determination fuels the search, the iteration needed to find a solution, whereas quick thinking kind of applies once you have a specific solvable problem in front of you. Emma's achievement here was pushing past what initially looked unsolvable.
That's a fair point about the necessity of determination, I'll give you that. But I'm not sure it proves its primacy over the logistics. The immediate critical hurdles were purely logistical, getting there, having a place to sleep. So let's examine those concrete actions. Skipping checked bags, calling the friend for a couch. Are these really expressions of some deep character trait? Or are they learned tactics? Practical travel skills deployed effectively under pressure? I'd argue they're more like strategic maneuvers, possibly from past experience, not just raw emotional drive.
I'd push back on that distinction, no. When Emma decided to skip checked luggage, was that just a learned technique? I see it as her determined mindset making a strategic choice, prioritizing the main goal, getting to Lisbon fast, over personal comfort or convenience. That feels like resourcefulness as a core trait, shaping the strategy itself, not just pulling a skill out of a toolbox.
But the two most critical pieces, the flight and the accommodation, they hinged on factors completely outside her direct control. Yes, the video montage gift was innovative, a great example of her ingenuity solving a secondary issue, the gift problem, but it didn't solve the fundamental problem of getting there. And the text specifically highlights the kindness of others. Doesn't that suggest the external support structure, her social network, was just as vital, maybe equally weighted with her internal quick thinking? I mean, if that specific Madrid flight simply hadn't existed, her determination couldn't have magically created it.
For me, Emma's whole experience really highlights how these ingrained traits, like that determined spirit, allow people to face down what seem like impossible binary problems, no flights, no rooms, and transform them into successes. It's about fundamentally reframing the problem space. It's the determined character, I think, that creates the opportunity where others just see a dead end. turning hurdles into an unforgettable trip.
Well, while I agree those foundational traits provided the essential drive, the story ultimately seems to confirm that even the most determined person needs effective quick thinking, which I still see partly as a skill, and, crucially, that external support and, frankly, favorable circumstances to navigate real-world complexity successfully. It makes a strong case, I think, for the interplay, the symbiosis of character and contingency. There's definitely more to unpack here in how we analyze success in these kinds of high-stakes travel narratives.